Hey, welcome back to Yvonne Wakefield's YouTube channel, where I'm going to continue reading from Babe in the Woods, Building a Life One Log at a Time, the first book in the series of 3, Self-Portrait and Path of Totality. But I want to wake Zachary up here. Come here, Zachary. He's just kind of like hanging out on the couch.
Hi, everyone. Now I can go back to sleep.
I hope everyone has something like warm and fuzzy, like Zachary, to hang on to and touch and to hold, that doesn't require judges and alimony or anything like that. Not that I've gone through that, but just in case somebody does. Get a dog instead of somebody you might have to take to court. That's beside everything. Okay, so last chapter was chapter 15. You know, I'm still this 18-year-old chick in cut-off shorts and shirts, and I was working in exchange to have logs hauled up to my building site. I exchanged work with this wonderful Mormon family and helped them string fence, and I was not capable of keeping up with the guys. And then after that, I and this guy who was working with me, great guy, Brad, we went and drank whiskey with the judge. And this, these are all really people. And then the end of that chapter, I move out of the cabin. So chapter 16 is called Zach's settling in for this read, you guys.
Oh, Zachy.
Is Scout's Honor. The Girl Scouts of America is one institution I wholeheartedly believe and advocate, at least. Scouting was my introduction to the wilderness and entrepreneurship. By age 10, I learned to stake a camp, strike a fire, and make a sales pitch. Would you like to buy some cookies? I went door to door, order sheet in hand, Savannah's, mint, shortbread. I never came close to achieving my father's marketing scene success or the resulting stress. But by age 10, I sold enough Girl Scout cookies to merit a badge in sales and added it to my uniform sash. I coveted those badges. Once I proved I could seal a deal, build a fire with a single match, split wood, split wounds, sing a song, paddle a canoe, I was awarded a round patch symbolizing each feat accomplished. I earned enough of these that they filled the sash and they were sewn onto my Girl Scout dress. After my mother died, I dropped out of scouting, ditched my dress and merit badges. One thing I did hang on to from my scouting days was an official green pocket knife and a song I learned at Camp Lake of the Woods. I know a place where no one ever goes. I continue humming and singing about a place hidden in a valley beside a mountain stream where I can find peace, quiet, beauty, and repose. The tune and the lyrics simple enough for me to carry through times I wish to forget. I live these lyrics now in a meadow where I set up camp on my land, self-gratification, my only reward. Just below and well out of sight from the building site, I pitched the tent. Hammering down stakes with rocks cleared from a grassy meadow. Inside, I lay out a foam pad and sleeping bag on a stack of books beside a candle and a Coleman lantern. Outside, I arrange tools on a fallen log, take the axe and folding shovel, and stake my claim. Pine cones crack and spiral open in the afternoon sun. I dig up a fire pit, line it with boulders, clear a path down to the creek, then wedge flat rocks to form a solid perch where I can safely draw water or stoop and drink. I retrace this new path to a flat spot between two old-growth ponderosa. A fir lodged horizontally between them. I sit on the fir, my feet comfortably planted on the ground. The road above obscured the creek below. Perfect. I start digging a pit toilet with a view. By late afternoon, were I still in the city, I'd be finishing classes or closing the door on a little office where I would have worked after school, itching to get out of a bra and nylon stockings. By the same time here, I have finished staking camp, stripped down bare, and am splashing myself in the creek, humming, shoo, 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 Sugar Town, and wondering where my cat went. Here, Tamaracker! Here, Tamaracker! My high-pitched calls elicits the wrong response. A bat with bent radar jerks like a drunken Marriott overhead and flies into the tree. Thunder rumbles up from the valley. As fast as the shutter is closed, the blue sky is black. A flash flood of tumultuous air whips the forest into a breaking surf of needles and brants. Here, Tamarack! Tamarack! I string out my call again, tinged with fear, more for the defenseless kitten than my own safety, now threatened. Trees whip back and forth, slinging branch spears and cones, bombing to the ground. Lightning cracks so close I can smell ozone in advance of what's to come. This atmospheric and barometric change has crashed in so fast I can't fathom it, or that I'm still squatting butt naked in the creek. My shoo, shoo, shoo changed to shit, shit, shit. Pine needles, cones, rain, and hail pelt my tawny hide. I scramble up the bank and at first glance mistake a buck for a brown boulder. It is sleek and sheltered against the ponderosa by the pit toilet, its 6-point rack blending in with low dead branches. We both freeze. Cautiously, I back away to the tent. The buck stays put. Inside the hastily packed backpack is a fresh laundered pair of long underwear, 2 flannel shirts and socks and sweaters. I dry off with one shirt, toss it into the corner, and layer on what's left. Hail, twigs, branches strike the tent. I'd not thought to attach the rainfly on such a sunny day, and I hope the nylon won't rip. Now, with less than a millimeter of protection, I think I'd be safer under a tree beside the buck. Throughout the abrupt storm, I've not seen Tamarack, and hope instinct led him to find cover with a peanut butter jar. I crawl into the sleeping bag to wait out the rain and discover a scared kitten to warm my feet. In less than an hour, the storm blows clear. Raindrops reflect from the lupines to lady slippers, droplets hanging from the tips of ever-growing things. I hike back through the Sorkotsi wonderland, Tamarack buttoned in my shirt, to the old cabin to check on Brad. He is still asleep. The floor around him is wet from the roof, which has leaked. I fill my footlocker with apples, cheese, coffee, cat food, and books, tie a rope to one leather handle, and pull it behind me across the Fir Pole Creek Bridge, then up through the meadow where I sit on to rest, unbutton my shirt, and let out Tamarack. He won't follow me through the dripping wet grasses that tower over his downy kitten body, yet he protests getting buttoned in again. Turns out he doesn't mind the ride in the trunk as it bumps along, the open lid flapping. The trunk glides easily down the grassy slope to my new home, where there is peace and quiet, beauty and repose. Fuck it! Just fuck it! Brad flings the post hole digger aside, fortunately opposite from where I lie belly down, chiseling away at rock. From this angle, I see the bottom prongs are bent on the post hole digger. Just call it a day. Brad spits in the dirt. Just call it a fucking day. Why don't ya? He kicks the spit. I'm thinking he's still hungover or upset I moved out because he barely says a word to me as we work the day after I've made my little camp. It's not even 4 o'clock yet. We usually work until 5 unless the weather is really bad. Today it is sunny and warm enough to wear shorts. I finish the porch pier holes I'm working on, then pick up the post hole digger and carry it down to the tarp where all the tools are kept. There I brace the wooden handles between my thighs and use a 22-ounce waffle-faced hammer to pound the bottom edge straight. Brad walks over to the tarp, picks up the half-full peanut butter jar, and sits on a log. He scoops out a plug after glob, licks his finger, and then sticks them back into the jar, glaring at me as I carry the refurbished tool to the building site, where I continue what he has quit. By the time I finish digging out that last porch pier hole, mixing and filling it with cement, Brad is gone. The nearby empty peanut butter jar is attracting ants. You feel in my life like a lazy slug. Suck life out of me. Remember, those were the haikus I was writing on the pier posts. I wipe my Girl Scout knife clean and call it a day. That evening, I hiked to a cave about a half-mile up from the building site. A long time ago, a miner laboriously chipped towards the prospect of sudden wealth that lived there. It was long ago because there are no labels left on the old bottles and cans and other reminders of abandoned pursuit, weathered to the color of dirt around the cave mouth. Now only bats live inside, clipped into cracks, slicked with slimy stuff I won't touch, even with a long stick. When I need to have a deep think, I go sit at the mouth of this cave, where it is warm and the air is sweet. It is carved into a serpentine granite side cliff above the creek that divides my land. I dangle my legs over the ledge, watching the shadows cast west, and I wonder in repose, why would anyone give up on a mother lode? Or what makes a person throw a tool? All right, so that's chapter 16. We hope you have a great week, and we will see you again for the next chapter in Babe in the Woods. Remember, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Tell your people about it. Tell your friends, tell your family, whoever you want to talk about. It's just kind of a fun thing. And always remember, stay hydrated with your beverage of choice. Bye-bye. See you next week.